biggest triggers with hypothyroidism. I know on my own thyroid journey, that was an area that was super overwhelming and also very frustrating for me because it was confusing. There was a lot of conflicting information. So I wanted to share with you how I overcame that and why shopping the perimeter of the grocery store is such a good idea with hypothyroidism. But if you could do me a very big favor, if you could go ahead and subscribe to my channel and then hit that bell so you get a notification every time I release a new video every single week. So let's go ahead and dive into this. This is a topic that I like talking a lot about because, like I said, this is an area that I struggle a lot with, and the food portion when dealing with any thyroid disease for that matter, was just so overwhelming, and I felt like I was totally unclear on what I should be doing. So one of the things that I recommend to my clients all the time is that the majority of the foods should be the perimeter of the grocery store. And what I mean by that is think about your macros: proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So the perimeter of the grocery store is where we're going to find the majority of these, particularly the ones that are really, really good for thyroid disease, especially when we have hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. We need to make sure that we're not ignoring our macros. So cutting out entire food groups is not the best idea. And I've done videos about this, about talking about like the keto diet, where we're taking completely out carbohydrates and really, really loading up on fat. And that's pretty hard with thyroid disease, especially with hypothyroidism. So, protein wise, that's where you're going to find the most of it, is the perimeter grocery store. Once in a while, I will throw in a snack that is a prepackaged one that is a very, very clean one, like a meat stick or something like that. But the majority of my protein is going to come from the perimeter of the grocery store. Collagen and bone broth also are very good sources of protein. And I do have those, but like I said, most of the protein that I recommend is going to be from the perimeter of the grocery store. It's going to be things like chicken, fish, eggs, beef, lamb. For some people, they tolerate those. That's what we're going to really focus on, is those kind of protein sources. And then carbohydrates. When we're thinking about carbohydrates, I always am going to put fruits and starches at the top of the list, and then vegetables, obviously, those are kind of free reign. But our carbohydrate source should be more whole food sources. I know a lot of people do carbohydrate sources from prepackaged things, from boxed things, and those are okay once in a while. And I personally do throw those in once in a while. I like things like the siete tortillas. I like to have Banza pasta. It's a very, very good chickpea-based gluten-free pasta. So do I have those? Absolutely, but that is not my main source. I'm throwing those in once in a while. Most of my carbohydrates are going to be coming from the perimeter of the grocery store, which is the whole food sources like fruits and then vegetables and starches. So I love things like sweet potatoes, butternut squash. Those whole food sources for carbohydrates are going to be your best bet. And then fats. So fats, obviously they're going to be in some of our protein sources. If it's a leaner cut of meat, we're not going to have as much fat in that. But things like avocado, nuts, and seeds, those are all great sources of fats. Now, obviously, some of those are not in the perimeter of the grocery store, but like I said, majority of the fats I'm getting are going to be coming from things like avocados and in my meat sources and stuff like that. And then I will throw in coconut oil, avocado oil, things like that have the extra fat sources in them as well. And then obviously, eating avocados themselves have good sources of fat too. But the added fats are probably going to be coming from things that aren't necessarily the perimeter of the grocery store, but they're still very, very clean, healthy sources. I even like using avocado mayonnaise. I don't have regular mayonnaise because there's too much junk in it, but like avocado oil based mayonnaise is really, really good. That's another good clean source. And then if you tolerate dairy can be a very good source for extra fat as well. I do not recommend low fat or fat-free dairy products. There's too much junk and stuff added to them, but I definitely would have the full fat sources of dairy, but make sure it's a clean source. It's organic, it's hormone-free, it's antibiotic-free. If you tolerate dairy, I personally cannot have dairy, but I have a lot of clients I work with that tolerate it just fine. And I'm going to recommend the full fat source. So that's also a really, really good source of fat intake. I personally like to have, if I'm having dairy-free alternatives, a lot of them still have fat in them because they're cashew-based, usually something like that, that will still have fat in them because they're seed-based, kind of plant-based, but they still are coming from seeds and nuts and things like that. So there will be good sources of fat in them as well. So that's kind of where I would think about when we're thinking about the perimeter of the grocery store. That's what I would start focusing on are those foods the most. Like I mentioned, the inside of the grocery store, will I still have things? Yes, because I like things like coconut aminos. I love putting that on food. And some of the sauces and marinades and stuff by like Primal Kitchen. So those are definitely going to be things that I use, but that's not my staple for my foods. Those are just little add-ins and having them once in a while. So that's something to really, really focus on, is making sure you're getting your macros in, getting that protein, carbohydrate, fat source in will be your best bet. If you have any questions with this, definitely let me know, reach out. I have a lot of extra videos that talk about, even meal planning and snack ideas and things like that could be super helpful for you. So you can go ahead and search through the rest of my videos, especially the eating category. I have a lot of videos on that. So like I said, if you have any questions, definitely reach out, let me know, and then drop a comment below too. Let me know what your experience has been with eating with thyroid disease, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.